Hi guys, follow me on Instagram to never ever miss any of my crazy updates. Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I am driving this. This is the 2020 Hyundai Creta, the second generation model, and straight away let's open the engine bay of this vehicle. And this is the new CRDI 16V engine, 16 valve that is, and you get insulation right there. Motor is actually kind of small in the engine bay, plenty of space as such. Anyways, the design is a love it or a hate it one for sure. You're going to love it, you're going to hate it. I mean, it's not going to appeal to everybody, like in the case of the Kia Seltos. But then some people really love this design because this is actually inspired from Hyundai's flagship SUV, the Palisade. In fact, some people say it looks like a bigger venue. The grille is massive. It has got a lot of chrome treatment. There are no front parking sensors. And the lights get the C shape for the DRL. So this is the DRL. This is the medium beam and this is the high beam. Meanwhile, the fog lights do not get the LED treatment and the indicator position is a bit too low. Yes, the lights are nice and bright at night for sure and gives a good throw. All LED units, the fogs should have been LEDs as well. The car is very dirty right now, so pardon me for that. The wheels on this car happen to be 17 inches on the top spec. Nexen tires, the tire size happens to be 215/60/17s. Yeah, the alloy wheels look very busy and the design seems to have got a lot of effort in it, but somehow isn't as striking as some of the other Hyundai cars. Okay, it gets an indicator here. Black treatment just to, reduce the overall visual bulk. Chrome door handles, you've got silver treatment, silver roof rails and a big massive sunroof. There's a shark fin antenna and you see the silver treatment has been carried forward really very nicely. The car is actually bigger in terms of length. It's also wider than before, but unfortunately it's not as tall as before. But that's actually a good thing because the proportions look really nice and fit the car well. Yes, it's got rear discs as well. All four wheels get discs. Meanwhile, the rear tries to be a little bit like the front. So again, you get the C-shaped treatment and this is obviously the brake light, the indicator, and you've got a lot of treatment here just to reduce the overall visual bulk. Now this is obviously a fake skid plate sort of a treatment, but there you see the reverse parking lights are lower down, reverse parking sensors, the bumper is finished in black, and you've got a reverse parking camera as well. Now there is this black strip which joins both the lights with the middle center brake light position right there. You got a rear spoiler as well. Again, Hyundai's done a great job of trying to reduce the overall visual bulk of the vehicle, but it's not bulky as such. But you've got a lot of treatment like piano black or whatever you want to call it, gloss black that is. From the side, the car looks the best because this is the place where you won't have polarizing opinions for sure. Anyways, let's quickly get into the boot of the Creta. The new model gets a bigger boot when compared to before. Yeah, I think it's increased by around 33 liters and you can fold the forward seats, the rear seats forward into 60/40 to increase the boot carrying capacity. And yes, there's storage space, there's a light placement there. There seems to be a speaker and you know what? The spare wheel isn't an alloy. Heck, forget being an alloy, it's actually a smaller size as well. Yeah, it is a 16-incher, the car is running on a 17-incher. So yes, cost cutting is there. I believe that the tire, the 17-incher would have easily fit inside that well, but Hyundai has skipped on that. Let's get into the rear. Now another thing I need to mention is that there is no request sensor on the co-driver's side, something which Hyundai doesn't do on most of its cars. But Maruti actually offers you request sensors on both the sides. So the rear seat is actually better now in the sense that the recline angle is better. There's more space on offer. The wheelbase has also been increased and you know what? You can easily put a 1-liter bottle, Bose sound system. I will do an unboxing video of the car by removing all the plastics. You got a sun blind right there. And the floor is almost flat because the cabin is now wider. 3 people can actually sit in, but you know what? The center armrest is not very convenient as such because yeah, it has twin cup holders, but when you sit against it, it doesn't leverage too much comfort as such. Floor is almost flat. There's space here to keep your stuff. There's a USB charger, rear AC vents as well, and no scooter seat back as such, but you've got magazine holders. Now you see there are a lot of hard plastics everywhere in this vehicle. Okay, this is soft, yeah, but lot of hard plastics. To remove this is how it's done. You don't feel claustrophobic at the rear because the window size is large enough as well. Let's quickly get inside and sit in the rear seat of the Creta. So legroom is not a problem. In fact, under thigh support is decent, not the best, but headroom isn't the best. You know why? Because they have this massive roof which kind of eats into the headroom for taller passengers like me. The audio is facing the other way. What am I even talking? Anyways, You got a light placement here. There's a handle. There's a light there along with the handle as well. And the cabin feels like a very nice place to be in for sure. That's right. Meanwhile, here is where the display is there for the in-car air purifier. It's nice, gives you a good amount of detail, and obviously desanitizes the car to a certain extent as well. So that is the dashboard of the 2020 Creta. As you can see, it looks very different from the outside. From the inside, it feels very elegant and nice, but I have a lot to talk about. So let's just get out from here for the moment. Meanwhile, these pillows are optional. They are not part of standard equipment. Okay, they're part of an accessory. And what is here? There's something here as well. Okay, so you know what? The seats obviously don't move ahead or behind, but you can recline the seat. This is the lever. So here you see the recline angle has increased. This is mainly so that you can flip it forward. I appreciate the fact that Hyundai has just given a lever. You can pull it. You don't have to pull a string or something like I had to do to lift the floor of the boot to access the spare wheel of the vehicle. Now, once I get inside, let me tell you that the interior is very different from the Chinese model. Okay, this is the request sensor. You got keyless entry, you've got push button start, all of that which was there in the previous Creta as well. There's a dead pedal right there. Door pockets are large enough. These are actually the controls for the power windows. These are for the outside rear view mirrors, lock and unlock the door. But unfortunately, only one of this switch is backlit at night. Not all the switches are backlit, which is something which is there in the Kia Seltos as well. So cost cutting has been done, and obviously only the driver's side gets an auto roll down power windows. You press a button, it rolls down in one go. You don't have to keep it pressed, but that's not the same thing which happens on the other side. Volkswagen has been offering this feature since a real long time. Now honestly, all the seats of the car are very supportive and very nice, although a little bit on the firmer side, but definitely I would take it. You get electric adjust for the driver's seat, which is again a nice touch. Seats feel nice, okay, part leather treatment to them, and of course the bolstering and everything is super awesome in this vehicle. But what's not so awesome happens to be the fact that plastics are super hard, okay, and I'm not even kidding, okay. Super hard plastics everywhere inside this car, and the shiny plastics as well, something which is there in the Seltos as well. So yeah, the Hyundai group together, they're doing that cost cutting bit. Hazard light button, air conditioning controls. This actually happens to be a 10.25 inch infotainment screen, same size as the Seltos, but the Seltos one looks slightly bigger somehow because of the way it's positioned. Meanwhile, the steering is also very nice and unique in terms of design. The gear lever feels nice to hold, and there are buttons here. This is obviously the driver rear view monitor, which will only be functional when you're in gear. Yes, you get front ventilation for the seats as well. This is the electric parking brake, auto hold function as well. Not there in the Seltos. Auto hold function in a manual car. Well, that's nice. You've got large compartments. Actually, you can easily keep 2 cup holders here. You can keep your key here, and below the front center armrest as well, there's space, but this is actually very thick because the air purifier mechanism lies inside that. Glove box is decent sized, and there is a cooling function as well for the glove box. The car gets 6 airbags. I like the dash design for sure. The instrument cluster gets a 7-inch screen. Again, that's the same as the one on the Kia Seltos. Not the design, but the size. However, the Chinese model actually gets a 12.3-inch fully digital instrument cluster. Meanwhile, this one has a very smallish tachometer, and on the other side we have got meters for both the temperature as well as the fuel, again on the smaller side. But the center one has the speedometer. Now that is actually a digital speedometer which looks like an analog unit, and as I rev it, you can see that's how the needle climbs. But the one on the Seltos somehow looks wider because there is no gap here. Like on both the sides there's gap. Why is there a gap? Well, that's for the telltale lights. Now this screen actually looks nice and fluid, plenty of features on offer. But, and there's a but, the Chinese model gets a vertical 10.4-inch screen which looks very much like a Tesla model. In fact, it also gets a gear lever with a digital display for the gear position indicator, and it's like a throttle as well. So the Chinese model definitely gets certain features which are missing on the Indian model, including 360-degree parking camera along with front parking sensors, which happens to be present in the Kia Seltos as well. Alright, this is a wireless charging pad. There is a 12-volt charging socket here. There's a USB and there's another USB right there. And I mean, the car definitely has plenty of features, but the hard plastics are a bit of an irk. Meanwhile, you get auto dimming inside rear view mirror, and these are the functions for the connected car features. It has got 50 connected car features, unlike the Seltos, which gets 37, and the Venue, which gets 33. There's a sunglass holder right there, and these are actually the controls for the lights, along with controls to open the sunroof, but we are not going to press any of those buttons. I'll tell you why. You get a mirror here, but you don't get a mirror on the driver's side, which is again cost cutting, something which we again see on the Kia Seltos as well. These are actually the controls for the audio system. These are the controls for that multi-information display, and you can browse through a lot of things. The display looks very slick when it turns on because it shows this cool graphic which roams around, and you get all the bits which you expect from Hyundai cars, including a tire pressure monitoring system as well. Now, why did I not open the sunroof? Simple reason is because it's got connected car features. It's got this Blue Link app, and you can just talk to the car. It will open the sunroof as well. Hello, Blue Link. Open sunroof.
Opening the sunroof.
And there you see, it's a large panoramic sunroof, unlike in the case of the Kia Seltos, which doesn't get such a big sunroof. So this is a big draw for the Hyundai Creta. This is actually going to draw in a lot of buyers as well, because this is a very cool thing. And you know what? With this Blue Link app, you can do a lot of functions. You just have to say, hello, Blue Link. She wakes up and she talks to you. Okay, what are the various functions you can do? Well, you can actually check cricket scores. You can check if there's a public holiday. So, I mean, it's loaded with a lot of voice commands, which is very nicely done. Plus, you can start the car if it's a DCT model, only in the automatic. You can't do it in a manual. And plenty of other features, which we will talk in a longer video. Right now, we'll just keep it very brief. So, plenty of stuff here. It's very slick to use. The graphics are nice. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto connectivity. This is the reverse parking camera of the vehicle, and it shows you the Creta's graphics for the reverse parking sensors as well. The car also gets an 8-speaker Bose sound system, which is absolutely terrific. Okay, because I'm shooting with my phone right now, I will have to play radio. Let's listen to some audio right away. Yeah, audio quality is brilliant, and you know, Hyundai has done a great job in terms of overall build quality. Also, everything is nice. Only thing is that hard plastics is a bit of a problem here. Now, obviously, you get automatic wipers, automatic headlights. Let's use the wipers right away. Plenty of spray on offer. The wipers work really well as well. And overall, you sit on a slightly lower position in this car when compared to the older model. But I think the difference is so negligible that I don't even know why I'm raising this point right now, any which ways. So the position around everything is super nice and awesome. You can adjust the steering wheel only for height. It doesn't adjust for front and behind. And there, it's trying to connect the Bluetooth system as well. The range, it says 818 kilometers. You know why? Because the Creta with the same engine as the Seltos is actually more fuel efficient as per ARAI. These are actually the controls for the lights. Yeah, the light controls are there. Meanwhile, over here, we've got the traction control button to turn off traction control. This is the start stop button, and this is the headlight leveler. So it's got plenty of features. There's a cruise control function as well, and everything in this car does feel nice. But how is it to drive? Well, let's get going right away. Alright, let's get going. So let me tell you straight away that the car feels as easy to drive as its predecessor, because it's so light, it's so nimble, and it's just so easy to maneuver as well. But there is one thing which you guys need to understand, that the way the suspension has been set up on the car is very, very different from what it has been done on the Seltos. So here the suspension is on the softer side, which bodes really well for the ride quality, but it's not as soft as before. But the chassis has been strengthened a bit. Okay, the chassis is now more rigid, because of which it doesn't have that bouncy feel which was there on its predecessor. It somehow just feels so much more natural to drive, easier to drive, and doesn't give you that hairy feeling which was there on the old Creta. But still, this is not a driver's car by any means of imagination, because the steering, although it weighs up at high speeds, it just doesn't give you much feedback. Yes, the good thing about the steering wheel is that it's super easy to twirl. You can twirl it with one hand. So it's always giving you good amount of confidence to drive it in the city, park it in a tight spot, no effort needed whatsoever. Let's talk about the engine options. There are 5 powertrain options. One is, of course, the 1.5 litre petrol, which is available with either a 6-speed manual or a CVT gearbox. Then there is, of course, the diesel, which I'm driving right now, available with a 1.5 litre diesel, that is downsized from the 1.6 litre which was present before. And that downsize also means that it produces 13 PS lesser power and a reduction of 10 Newton meters as well. Well, it's kind of become slower now slightly, but you really can't feel it, because the torque output, which happens to be 250 Newton meters, comes in 400 RPM earlier. So the torque output of this car, which like I mentioned is 250 Newton meters, comes in at 1500 RPM and peaks all the way at 2750 RPM, similar to its predecessor, the 1.6 litre, but 400 RPM earlier, giving it a wider torque band as well. Now this is a very tricky place to take a turn, so I'm just driving around my building, because stay at home, don't go out. Important for us to, follow the lockdown principles. That's why I am not getting out of my building at all. That also, I had come to take some grocery. I thought I'd take a quick spin and tell you about how the driving dynamics of the new Creta are. So steering is really nice, but doesn't inspire confidence as such. But the good thing is it is not on the stiffer side, which bodes really well overall for the ride quality, as well as the fact that body roll is lesser than before, but still it has some amount of roll on offer. Taking a U-turn, driving this car in the city is such a pleasure. The gearbox is slick shifting as well. And I was talking about the engine options. So this is a 6-speed manual, again slick shifting clutches on the lighter side. There's also a 6-speed torque converter automatic if you want an automatic diesel, which is the priciest variant of the Creta lineup. Goes to 20.67 lakhs on road Mumbai. Meanwhile, you know, the Seltos in the similar trim is around the same price point, so there's no price difference as such. But for this particular car which I'm driving right now, the top spec diesel manual, the Seltos is 67,000 cheaper. This is priced at 19 lakh rupees. The third engine option, or rather the third powertrain option, because it only gets one gearbox option, which happens to be a 7-speed DCT, it does not get a manual, unfortunately, although it does get it in the Seltos somehow, but I don't know why Hyundai has not offered it. That one has some tricks up its sleeve, because not only does it get paddle shifters, it gets 6 drive modes. So, you know, 3 are terrain modes and 3 are drive modes as such. The cluster actually changes its color. Can you believe that? The cluster changes its color depending on the drive mode. So there's red, there's blue, there is green on offer. That's also quite slick, right? Anyways, as you can see, the car is nice, easy, nimble to drive. The range actually starts around 11.6 lakh rupees for the base 1.5 liter manual and goes all the way till 20.67 lakhs, making the Creta quite more expensive than before. But Hyundai's focus has been clear here. They're not here to make a car which is a driver's car. They want to make a car which is loaded with a lot of features, which is easy to drive, and that's something which they have achieved fabulously well with the new Creta as well, because the car is loaded with a lot of features, feels premium, is easy to drive. Although they call it the ultimate SUV, this is not an SUV in the real sense, because this is a front wheel drive. There's no 4-wheel drive on offer. It cannot actually go off-road as traditional 4-wheel drive SUVs can. But still, the good thing about this car is that it's very frugal. The fuel efficiency is actually improved when compared to the Seltos, although they are powered by the same engine. So I don't understand the logic how Hyundai has been able to squeeze that little bit more from the engine. Here you see, it's so easy. In fact, you know, tires offer a good amount of grip, but if you get hard onto the throttle, turn off traction control, it does wheel spin, it does torque steer, and it obviously has some understeering nature as well, which is seen in a lot of front wheel drive cars. So here, let's up the pace a little bit. NVH is really nice. It's very silent. Turbo lag is well contained. The motor is always eager. Okay, it's eager enough. Obviously, being a Hyundai diesel, it has some amount of top end as well. Red lines at around 4,500 RPM. So they kind of nailed it in almost every sense by giving a car which is so good in almost every aspect for a common man. This car is going to appeal to 98% of the audience. Now, the enthusiasts would be like, you know, yeah, it doesn't have that punch. It doesn't, you know, feel that mechanically inclined, because the steering feels kind of lifeless at high speeds. It doesn't give you feedback. Plus, there's body roll on offer, and the engine is silent, fast but silent. I reckon it should take around 11 seconds to go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, which is decently quick. But you know, people are not going to test that. Drivability is where the new Creta actually shines. Now, I'm so focused talking about the diesel, I forgot to mention much about the turbo petrol. Now, turbo petrol in the Seltos has performed really well, but the DCT has some amount of issues because it's a little jerky, overheating, and all those things. I reckon both Hyundai as well as Kia must have solved that issue by now. Okay, driving this car through tight spots is such an easy thing to do. And I press this button, the driver rear view monitor, which is so nice because it shows me exactly what's behind. And this is a thing which I'm surprised German car makers did not think about at all. So as you can see, the new Creta is something which has taken a step above in terms of equipment, in terms of features, in terms of overall feel-good factor, space, and refinement as well. The most important thing is that the turbo petrol will now appeal to a larger audience, and more important than that is the fact that the overall refinement, the feel-good factor, the premiumness for which the Creta has always been positioned at a premium is kind of justified here, although I still don't understand why the top end goes about 20 lakhs, making it a little bit on the expensive side. But then Hyundai has given it a lot of crazy features as well, specifically the ones which really appeal to, you know, the people who love features and equipment and all those gimmicks. Is the fact that, you know, you have drive modes and you have terrain modes similar to one which you see on the Harrier as well, but I'm not too sure that it's going to be able to traverse terrains which are extremely hardcore. I mean, I'm sure it won't be able to do it, things which the Fortuner and the Endeavour can do it with so much ease, hard under the gas. And yeah, the brakes are so nice, sure-footed, and that ABS pulsating which was there on the predecessor, that's gone. So they have actually nailed, you know, the calibration of the ABS on the new Creta, which is very well done indeed. Yeah, just maneuvering the car, it feels so nice. It feels like a natural habitat when I'm driving it over a gymkhana course, because I mean, so easy to maneuver it. Ground clearance is also decent. It has a 50-liter fuel tank as well. So, you know, the range is massive at 800 plus kilometers. So guys, sorry for looking at my face for so long and bearing with me on this review. But, you know, the proper POV will come once the lockdown gets over, because I can't show you POV inside my own building roaming around because there's just so many tight turns here. I'm just like having a good feel of the vehicle. But stay subscribed, stay safe, stay healthy, stay at home, and let's beat the virus ASAP so that we can get out and start driving in the natural habitat where we belong. So guys, if you like this vlog, you know what you have to do. Give it a thumbs up. That's a like button. So many Cretas. You know, when the Creta was actually launched, I was reading one of the old reviews on Motorbeam which I had written in 2015 about the Creta, and where I written that Hyundai has done a brilliant job. They've launched a car, this, that and all. When someone commented, you know, it's overpriced, it's not going to sell. Are you crazy? It's going to sell 15,000 units a month. It's going to barely sell 5,000 units a month. Why will anyone pay so much money for a car which doesn't have the feel and all? And you know, the Creta has gone and proven everybody wrong. That time they called it the perfect SUV, now they call it the ultimate SUV. I only wonder, what are they going to call the Santa Fe and the Palisade, which are actually genuinely more SUV than the Creta, because they're bigger in size and they also get 4-wheel drive option and whatnot. So as I see it, Creta might retain back its throne, which it had, you know, captured. But you know, the competition is going to be tougher now, a lot more rivals. And the biggest rival from Hyundai's own backyard, the Kia Seltos. Now you guys let me know which one do you like more. You like the Seltos more, or do you like the Creta more? I think deciding between both the cars is purely basis cosmetics as well as what features you personally like. Some people like a massive sunroof, some people like a heads-up display, which is not there in the Sky, there in the Seltos. So there's a give or take, hit or miss. That's how it functions now, doesn't it? Bye bye, take care, see you, love you all. Why did I say love you all? This is not a live.